So we know that all of our ideas, our concepts, the words we use for the real world, they're all limited and fallible and ultimately wrong on some level because they just can't capture the insanely complex real world. So, given that, how can we believe anything? How can we form any abstractions? How can we make any concepts? How can we tell which ones are useful and which ones aren't? And for once, a priest can help us. His name was Reverend Thomas Bayes, and he came up with a procedure for updating our beliefs when we are presented with new evidence. So his key insight was what it means to have a belief is not just you believe something or you don't believe something. You believe something with a certain strength, a certain weight, which can be talked about as a probability. So I might believe that it's not raining outside. I can look outside, but my senses are fallible. So I can only believe that to a certain extent. I could be dreaming. I could, there's lots of ways I could be wrong, even though it's unlikely. So we can say that my belief that it's not raining outside is 99%, 9.99 in terms of probability. And the reason that it's helpful to think of beliefs that way is because it lets us update them when new evidence becomes available. So, Bayes' theorem is a kind of complicated mathematical formula that I'm not going to go into in the video. If you want to learn more about it, you should read the actual words I wrote. I went through a couple examples, and there's plenty of videos out there to explain it. But the key insight is that a belief is not just a yes or no thing. It's measured on a scale. There's only one thing that you can believe with absolute certainty, and that's that I exist. And there are some things you can disbelieve with absolute certainty. Those are contradictions, like 2 plus 2 equals 5, because those are just words that we've defined a certain way. So we can, if you define every aspect of it, you can say whether or not that definition is true or false. But other than that, every belief you hold is not on or off. It's on a scale. It's a probability, and we can use evidence to update those beliefs in a rational manner, and that's what Bayesian Inference is all about. And another thing that's important to remember is that humans are terrible at probability. We just don't get it. And if you need any proof of that, just look at the casino industry. Look at the gambling industry. Billions of dollars are just handed away every year because people don't understand the odds. Or maybe they do understand the odds, but they don't understand how to act appropriately given those odds. Because if your goal is to maximize your profits in a casino, then there's only two things you can do. And that's don't play or own the casino. So you have to just completely disregard your intuition about statistics and probability if you want to achieve your goals. Because our brains are just not set up to handle probabilities like that. So it's a good idea to learn at least the basics of how Bayesian probability and Bayesian inference works, just so you can, if nothing else, just so you can throw away your intuition about how to know when something's likely or not, or when something's risky or not. People have the most insane computer just went blank. So people have the most insane risk aversion techniques. Like people are scared of flying, but they have no problem driving to the airport. And it's like you, I know it seems safer to drive than to fly because you're on the ground and you're in control of it. But you have to look at the statistics and think, just ignore your instincts and think about it from a fresh new perspective, and you'll see that flying is probably 1,000 times safer than driving to the airport. So that's probably good for talking about Bayesian inference.